You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with Nick Chybrzynski, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real life experiences.
Yo, 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 what up, everybody? Welcome to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with me, Nick Chybrzynski, and I am pumped that y'all make it a priority. Thank you so much that you're listening to these. I've been seeing a lot of growth in the quote unquote analytics. So it's been nice to know that whatever I'm working on is helping you. And if it is, I would love if you would, send it some way, send it somewhere, let somebody know that you're grinding with it. And you can always leave some love on the Spotify app if you're click on that link in whatever the description or whatnot and let me know how it's helping you. And that's it. At the end of the day, I just want to teach people how to walk with God. I want to make this world a little easier to navigate, and I want you to become your best. So please forgive me if you hear any crazy noise. We have wild storms happening here in the Pittsburgh area, and it is what it is. Can't do nothing about that. And the point to that will actually come up in this podcast. So I've been working out since February and I really am trying to get my body healthier than it's ever been. You do not get healthy by accident, and you definitely don't achieve anything by just talking about it. And so, in that, I was thinking about today just this idea of sculpting your life. And forgive me if you see me stepping away. My dog is freaking out. He's a little 5 pound chihuahua, and he keeps jumping up when he gets scared and hears thunder, and then he jumps down when he doesn't. He's very fickle. But, I was thinking today about, uh, just some things that I've been really, managing and growing through and trying to really just become the best version of me. And I know that most of us say that. Most of us talk about like, "Hey, I wanna be great. I wanna do great things," whatever the list of stuff is. And I thought it would be important to talk today about sculpting the life you want. And the reason I thought of that was I was walking out of the gym. I was walking into the gym and I see people there that are there regularly. And then when I was walking out, I saw a guy who works at the gym. And I'm like, dude, why are you here? Like, you work here. And I haven't even left. And I was like, dude, like, that's the devotion that I want, not just to physical health, but all around. And that's really what I'd like you to think about, when you're dreaming. And so what happened was I was walking out and I was like, it's crazy because you don't really sculpt the body you want by comparing yourself to others, because a lot of times when you do that, you're never happy with what you have. Now you can get inspired. You can compare yourself to others and get inspired, but you really sculpt your life by really thinking about, like, where do I wanna be? What do I want my BMI to be? What do I want my body to look like? What do I want my body to be able to do? Because some people might be like, "Oh, well, I want my body to look a certain way," but that doesn't amount to a hill of beans if it's not functional. So there are people that are jacked, but they can't they can't bend over and touch their toes because they're so jacked, their bodies are too tight. Like me, the way I'm built my whole life, I can't put my hands behind my back, so, anytime the cops busted me, it made it very difficult. I love to say that, I was kidding. Um, and so what do you want your life to look like? What do you wanna do with your life? I was thinking about one of the young people in the church that I pastor, and I love them to death, and I've been invested my life in them for the last 10 years. They've been a part of my life, and I just see them going through, just things that you go through, and all of us are going through stuff, right? I mean, like, how many of y'all in the comments would say, "Yeah, I'm going through stuff." You're not alone, and that we live in this world that everybody gets in the social media chats, and then they just beat the crap out of each other, and we're all just a bunch of people trying to freaking make it, man. This world's rough. I had a video recently that just started, like, getting a little more views on YouTube, and there's no nice comments. Everybody's so mean. We forget that we're all in this together, so I wanted to talk about self-sculpting, and you can take the gym kinda rhetoric with it to help you get the image, but more than your body, more importantly, yourself, your wholeness. I love what Jesus said. He said, "I desire that you prosper as your soul prospers." And your soul is broken down into the way you think, the way you act, the way you feel, your mind, your will, and emotions. And a lot of people, they don't understand, like, dude, it's not about just making a lot of money. I think about that guy who created Minecraft. You guys know Minecraft? I would hope so. And, this dude from Minecraft, he was sold it for buku bucks, and he tweeted or whatever it was, X, I don't know what you would call it now, and he's like, "Dude, I'm miserable. I'm sitting here. I have all the money in the world. I'm miserable. I have friends, family members, loved ones. I have a brother who overdosed on drugs, and I have cousins and family members who have committed suicide, and people that I love that have had all the opportunities at the edge of their fingertips, and they left it go because they were comparing themselves to the wrong things, and they weren't sculpting, and I really wanna encourage you, so this might be a multi-podcast. It's available on all streaming platforms and live on TikTok and YouTube. But the big idea is that your future is shaped, with time, and you choose what you do with time. Everybody, people go, "I don't have money. I don't have the time. I don't have this. I don't have that," and the reality is everybody has 24 hours. The average, I think it's the average American right now, average American adult spends like 6 to 8 hours a day on social media and TV. We don't have time. It's like, what do you and I'd love for you to just ask yourself, grab something to take notes with, man. Ask yourself some real questions. You can get on here and, like, hate what I'm saying, or you could, take something from it, but what are you doing with your time? Where's your time going? It's like you budget your money, I hope. I hope you're not just striking the card. So, well, you know what is happening with your money? Well, what's happening with your time? And so you become the part of you that you wanna shape based on the way you protect, adjust, and steward your time. So physical health, emotional resilience, because that's important. It's one thing to be, like, emotionally healthy, but you also gotta be emotionally resilient. So, like, I just don't read the comments. People are like, "Well, you should." I No, I don't want to. I've seen them. I see 'em. They're not nice. They don't make me feel good. So I'm just gonna put my content out, and, hopefully I help people, because the people who don't wanna help are just gonna gripe anyway. But there's gonna be some people who glean from it. There's gonna be people who glean from you. When you don't give up, all of a sudden you become a tree full of fruit that people can eat from. Like, "Man, I got this wisdom from that person. I learned how to do this from that person. I went to work, and that person didn't let the customer get to them. They ended up being a great part of a coworker. I become better." So finances, emotion, spirit, physical, these things work together, but they need to be intentionally sculpted, and I just wanna encourage you to be intentional. And if you never heard the song, listen to a friend of mine, Travis Green. I love him. He's got a great song. It's called Intentional. It talks about how God is intentional to help you, to be there with you, to encourage you. So I just want to help you. If you want some help, give me some love, some hearts, or high fives, or I don't know, some emojis, and just let me know I'm not alone in this. So number one, when you're sculpting, thinking about the gym, I usually go about 5 to 7 in the morning. I would say 5 to 6, but it's been rough lately. So 5 to 7 in the morning, I typically want to be in the gym later than 7 in the morning, and I want to spend at least 30 minutes to an hour in the gym. That's my goal. That's what I'm working with. That's what I'm working on. That's where I want to be. So all that being said, I got to be very intentional about how go about my day. And this is new for me because I do not sleep. I have a hard time sleeping, always have. I hope I don't always will, but I do. I have a hard time sleeping. Sometimes I get 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour of sleep. I never do fairly well with sleeping, and, it sucks. And so that's always kind of been my excuse, but then I was praying one day and I'm like, "God, I wish I had more time," and my body was hurting, my back was hurting, and, I'm getting older, and I've rollerbladed, I breakdanced, I was a cheerleader, I've gotten a lot of fights, I've been jumped, I've done a lot of aggressive sports, I've skydived, um, I've done a lot of stuff, I've wrestled, I did track, so I've done a lot of things with my body that when you don't maintain it, it's gonna fall apart, and I realized that, and so I was like, "I wanna be healthier, I wish I had more time," and then God was like, I heard God, he's like, "Wake up." Like, "What?" He goes, "Wake up." And I was like, "Whoa, I gotta wake up. I gotta wake up early. I gotta like, oh, like who would have thought that that would have been a solution?" So, number 1, when you're sculpting your body or sculpting your finances or sculpting your soul, your emotions, you gotta set time. So the number 1 thing about sculpting that I'm learning, man, you gotta set time. And I want you to take this thought with you. You'll never accidentally become what you intentionally decide not to be. You'll never like, I remember one time, I was in a situation and I was in an internship situation, and we had to release somebody from the internship, and it was so brutal, man, and it was like, "This sucks, dude," and I was becoming, the head intern, so I had to learn how to manage, like, the team, and it came down to me, um, someone looked one of my leaders and said, "Hey, like, you have to make that's a lot of pressure." And they said, "Well, you have to realize, like, if you have to fire somebody, if you have to make an adjustment, if you have to remove somebody from your life, if you're doing it fairly, you're not removing them, you're implementing their decision to be removed." So, like, if you just do a no call, no show, you're like, "I feel so bad firing somebody." It's like, dude, you're sculpting the culture of your business, you're sculpting the culture of your family, you're sculpting the culture of your life, and so you decide, like, "Hey, man, I have to let you go." You're not if you're doing it fairly, you're not making that decision, you're just implementing the decision they already made, and so that's part of sculpting. So I'm gonna set time because I don't wanna accidentally try to make it. I'm never gonna accidentally get a six-pack. I'm never gonna accidentally, get my biceps. I'm never gonna accidentally fix my back. I'm just thinking about it. I have to set time. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't stumble into wholeness. You set appointments. You create time to develop the future that you want, and the more that you develop the future that you want, eventually you'll develop the present that you want because you will run into your future, and when you run into the future that you dreamt of, you truly start living a present greatness, and I want that for you. So I think of this verse in the Bible. I've always taught this. It's not mine to quote. It's not mine to have. It's not my quote. It's the Bible. Ephesians chapter 5 is actually talking to family dynamics. Chapter 5 and 6 gets into marriage. It gets into how fathers should act, how mothers should act, how husbands should act, how children should act. One of the things it says, though, in verse 15, be very careful how you live. Be very careful how you live. Is this helping anybody? It, be careful how you live. Don't be like a foolish person, but be like a wise person. Even if you're an atheist, this is wisdom for you. The Bible says, make the most of every opportunity because the days around you are evil, man. There is wickedness happening on every side. And you can decide, well, I'm going to be like them or I'm going to be like the greatest version of me. Be careful that you don't allow your circumstances to dictate who you want to be. Don't allow your circumstances, "Well, that's how it always been. I'll never be." And you gotta get a hold of a vision for your life, and you have to start setting time for greatness. I'm gonna set time to read a book. "Oh, I don't like to read." Of course you don't like to read. Same reason I don't like to run. I don't like to run. I was on the elliptical today. I didn't wanna be on the elliptical, but my wife makes me go whenever I go with her, so she wasn't with me, so I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna do it anyway." And so I go and I'm on that stupid elliptical. If I'm gonna do this, let's at least get my heart rate to the place where there's actual breakthrough because you can go on the elliptical and do nothing. So I got my heart rate to 172, 173, and I was like, "Okay, cool. Now I'm getting my body working." And now the rest of my workout was more, uh, productive because I was actually, getting my heart rate to the place where my heart's moving, my muscles pumping, and I wanted to make the most of it. So make the most of it. Don't just go to the gym. Don't just go to get financial classes. Don't just win the lottery. 90% of people who win the lottery are broke within a decade because they did not have a plan for their future. They didn't sculpt it. They fell into it. So make the most of your opportunities and get a vision. Habakkuk in the Bible, he said, man, write down a vision, make it clear so you can read it and go back to it. So what do you want to look like? How much weight do you want to lose? Why do you want to lose that weight? Do you understand that when you lose fat and gain muscle, you're not going to lose weight, you're going to lose mass. So do you want a weight goal or do you want a BMI goal? Like these things matter. If you're going to truly sculpt to be the person you want to be, if you want a great marriage, you have to set time. You have to set time. You have to my wife and I, every Monday, it's dude, shut it down, turn your phone off, let's spend time together, let's rest, let's Sabbath, let's go on dates. That's what we do. And, there's a great leader, John Maxwell, pastor, doctor, whatever you wanna call him. He said something powerful. He said, "Show me your calendar and I'll show you your priorities." I asked somebody the other day, "If you had 1 day to live, what would you do?" They said, "I'd spend time with my wife and my kids." I said, "Then make that first. Make that the first thing you do every day." Whether it's the first thing you do, your family might be sleeping when you go to work. Okay, well, make it the first thing you do when you get back. Be intentional. Psychology has studied these things, and they call it implementation, intention. Setting time for specific tasks is called implementation intention. It increases the likelihood of following through. When you set time, when you actually carve the time into your schedule. Okay, we're gonna talk about that because sometimes things get screwed up like they did for me today. That's why I'm teaching you this. Setting time is called implementation intention. It significantly increases the likelihood of actually following through. People who write down where they're gonna go, what they're gonna do, you're 2 to 3 times more likely to complete it. And remember, 90% of people, I think it's 89 or 91% of people do not follow through with their New Year's resolutions. And so you can't just say it, you gotta set it. What was that, old school TV commercial? Set it and forget it. So you wanna there's ways you can do this, and I'm getting better at this. This has never been my gift. I'm talking to you about something I'm learning and growing through. I was never good at this because of my schedule. I'd be like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, creator. I get very creative at night. So I've been Wednesdays, for instance, is a block schedule. Somewhere in Wednesday evening, I'm gonna do a podcast and I stick to that 90% of the time. So block sculpting sessions on your calendar. So I'm gonna sculpt for my gym. I'm gonna sculpt time for prayer. I'm gonna sculpt time for reading. I'm gonna sculpt time for journaling. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna treat these things like a meeting. So I tell people, "Hey, man, I'm sorry I can't be there at this time. I have a meeting." And my wife, I know when we started doing this, my wife would be like, "What do you mean you have a meeting?" I'm like, "She does with who?" I said, "Myself." That's a priority. I have to make it a priority. I have to look at my mirror and go, "Hey, dude, you're important too," because Jesus said, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." So how can you truly do anything great for anybody if you're not gonna do great by yourself first? So treat those times going to the gym. I have a meeting. Well, it's nobody's business what you're don't get all beat up when people are like, "Well, that's not a meeting." No, dude, I'm gonna meet myself in the gym. Well, who are you meeting there? The future me. I'm gonna go meet the me I'm becoming. Well, I'm gonna go read a book. Why? Because I have to meet the future me in that book. I'm smarter when I read a book. I've exercised my brain. I've worked in somebody's wisdom and counsel through what they took time to write. So you're having a meeting with yourself. And don't set vague goals. Like, I love it. My wife and I, we were like, "You know what? Our original goal was I'm gonna go to the gym." We're like, "No, no, no. Our goal is we're gonna be people who work out." And so now we don't beat ourselves up when we have to make a change because we are becoming flexible. And that's point 2 is you set time, but number 2, you make time. The reason I put it this way, the emphasis is flexibility. But the reason I say make time is because today, for instance, my schedule got shifted and I didn't really I just wasn't motivated in the morning. I had a little bit of other things to do, and so I skipped out on the gym. But the problem is I skipped out on my set time because of the way my day was. But I was flexible, and so I went to the gym later, and I got my workout in. It wasn't fun because I changed the time, it was more difficult. By setting that time and by honoring that time, it's a lot easier because you create rhythm. But today I had to be flexible. And I want you to think of it this way, discipline doesn't need rigidity. You don't need to be rigid with discipline. It simply means discipline is being adaptable with purpose. I love that, man. I hope that you get that in here. Be adaptable with purpose. There's a difference between being like people are like, "Oh, you just need to chill." That's not adaptability. That's probably broken focus, lack of motivation. That can be a lot of things. But one thing it's not, if it's just, "Oh, you just need to chill." "Oh, hey, you know what? I need to chill because I need to rest." Okay, well, that's flexibility with purpose. So you wanna be adaptable. Sometimes we have to change it up. You have to do things just a little different. When life shifts, I love, you ever seen Friends? "Pivot, pivot, pivot." When life shifts, don't quit, just pivot. Make time to shift and to lean in even when plans fall apart. Sculpting will never be convenient. If it's convenient, you're probably not sculpting, you're probably maintaining. Just remember that. If you I'm telling you, if it's convenient, dude, you're probably doing more maintaining than you are sculpting. Sculpting is painful. You gotta be committed. Ecclesiastes 11 says, "Whoever watches the wind will never plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will never harvest." And what it's saying is you'd be like, "Oh, well, I just don't know. Oh, it's difficult. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. Oh, what if? Dude, you just gotta get out there and sow some seed. You gotta get to the gym and just work out. You gotta get into that book and just read. I keep falling asleep after I read a page. Great. At least you got a page down, and by the time you get through that book, you're gonna hold it up and go, "Oh my gosh, I read a whole book." You know, sculpting the future me, sculpting the future me. Proverbs 24:10 says, "If you faint in a crisis, you are weak." So, yeah, have you fainted? Yes. Have I fainted? 100%. But that revealed that I was weak. See, some people read that and they go, "That's not nice. That's being mean." No, if you're weak, if you get punched in the chin and you get knocked out, you need to strengthen your neck. You gotta learn how to take a hit. You can't get into the boxing ring and get knocked out after every hit. I watched a fight the other day, man, person got the crap kicked out of him, and they just kept going. I was like, "That is awesome. That is a strong person." Well, they didn't win. I don't care if they won. They made it through the freaking rounds. That's powerful. And sometimes you're not gonna win, but I'd rather you lose on your feet than lose on your back. I'd rather you lose a round on your feet. I'd rather you make it through the next fight on your feet. You don't find time for what matters, you make it. Today, I did not wanna go to the gym, so I made time. You miss something, you make time for it. Family emergency, don't beat yourself up, just adjust, man. Be ready to make change. And then the third thing is, and this is really important because a lot of people struggle with this, I hope this helps you. You have to manage your time. That's stewardship. You have to manage your time. Every yes, this is important leadership. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. So you have to protect your sculpting space. Like if I'm gonna put a potter's wheel in my office, which there's already more than enough stuff in here, so I'm not doing that. But if I was gonna put a potter's wheel in my office, I have to say, "Well, I have to get rid of something if I'm gonna put that in here." Well, if I go put a potter's wheel and then someone goes, "Hey, can I put this cup on the potter's wheel?" Listen, if you put that cup on the potter's wheel, I can't make a new cup. And so I have to be willing to say yes to one thing and no to another thing because one yes is a no, and one no is a yes to something else. So in that time management is soul management, life management. If you don't manage it, somebody will. I think about how many times I hear someone, they're like, "I gotta get off the call. I gotta get off the phone." And, I'm like, "Yeah, why don't you just tell I feel bad, I feel bad." Listen, if you have a meeting with someone, give them a start time, give them an end time. Why? It's not being rigid. It gives you the freedom to change it if you need to, but if you only have an hour to spend with somebody, you can't be mad at them whenever it was a 2-hour meeting, whenever you didn't give an end time. So you go, "Hey, man, I got time from 1 to 2 to meet. Can we please meet? I'd love to spend some time with you." And then 10 till you go, "Hey, I just wanna remind you, I gotta go at 2 o'clock." "Oh, that sounds so mean. It sounds so rigid." No, it is intentional. 'Cause some people will talk to you for 4 hours. They got nothing else to do. But that doesn't mean you can't make time in the future. If you enjoy your time with them, then make more time, but maybe it's not that same day. Proverbs chapter 25 says, "Like a city broken without a wall, so is a person who lacks self-control." Self-control isn't always what I don't do, it's also what I allow myself to have boundaries in Proverbs 25:28. So I wanna have boundaries, I wanna have self-control in my life. "Hey, sorry, can't do that. Won't go there. Can't do that. Can't be on that call that long. Won't be up that late. I'm going to sleep." So I've been forcing myself to wake up. Why? Because maybe I'll force myself to fall asleep if I wake up earlier. And so I haven't been able to figure out the sleep part, but waking up makes me more tired in the evening. Does it make sense? And so I'm managing my time. Luke 5, chapter 5, verse 15, Jesus withdrew to make time alone. And then it said people interrupted him. They found him in his quiet place. So he adapted and then he managed. And he said, "Hey, you guys, I love it." One time, he's like, he sent everybody ahead of him because he didn't have the time. Man, I didn't get my time today to be alone. So you guys go ahead of me. "Oh, well, Jesus, we want you to go with us." I get it that you wanna go with me, but I need to steward my time. The reality is nobody's gonna value your time like you, and then you have to ask yourself, "Are you even valuing your time?" Nobody's ever gonna value your finances. Look, talk to MC Hammer and so many rich people and successful people that family member came out of the woodwork whenever they had money, and they took it, and whenever the financial, surplus was gone, they just left those people high and dry. Why? Because they don't care. Now, it doesn't mean everybody doesn't care, but most people don't, and they don't have to. Why would anybody care about anything more than you care about it? So whatever you value, you have to steward, you have to manage. Zig Ziglar said, "A lack of direction, not a lack of time, is the problem." We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have 24 hours in a day. So it's not your, "Oh, I just don't have time." No, you just don't care. You're not managing your time. So you gotta manage your time. Set your phone limits, set curfews for your life. Talk about what time I'm coming home, what time I'm waking up. My wife and I, we started having meetings earlier because we noticed we were getting home way too late. We were eating trash because we were getting home late. We were too tired to cook. We were exhausted. Meetings were great. We love our people, but we were running out of time. And so you wanna set limits. You need to honor those limits to yourself because that also teaches people how to honor theirs. By living it, you're teaching it. So don't let being available allow you to cancel your personal assignments. Jesus loved people, but he also made time to be alone. So I wanna ask you, what are you setting time for? What do you need to make time for? Life interrupts it. Going to the gym, getting financial wisdom, going to a life group, taking time for church, time to date your wife, time, and how can you better manage your time? The days are stealing from us. We're all dying right now. Every single person listening to this is on a road to death. So you decide what you're gonna do the rest of your days. Your time is precious. Your skull a version of yourself, whether you intend to or not. What you skull to this is up to you. Bottom line, it's up to you. And so I hope you think about that. I hope that helps you. I hope that blesses you. I hope that strengthens you. I just simply want you to be the best version of you. I want you to wake up in your next day going, I am better today than I was yesterday because I was intentional about that. That being said, guys, thanks so much for being a part of Life, Hope, and Leadership Podcast. I hope it's helping you. If it is, share it, like, subscribe, send it to 25,000 people, and let's keep getting the word out about becoming the best version of us in every possible way. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you later.
You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership Podcast with Nick Chybrzynski, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real life experiences.